All right, it says we're live. I believe we are live. We got the itchy allergy nose today, so we'll see how we get through this one. Glad you guys are hanging out on a Tuesday. We'll give you our Tuesday best. We'll ask you the Tuesday best question from TheRaiderland.com earlier today. Ripped right out of the headlines, perhaps. Let you guys get in. You know what to do. The early arrivals, well, you let us know the audio is good. You let us know the video is good. How do you do that? It's pretty simple. You give us thumbs up, hearts. Just say something in the say something box, whatever it takes for you to communicate that you're ready to begin another broadcast adventure, taking us throughout the early part of the evening tonight as we'll look at Texas Tech football. Your biggest concerns. We'll take a trip down memory lane to 1978. Who was there for Tech and Houston on that epic upset day? And one of the more famous uniform days, really, in Texas Tech history as well. So all that while we hang out here in the Arctic Air Studios. You guys on Twitter, you guys on YouTube, use the United Supermarkets text line 806-772-0197. It's time to lay in your tailgating supplies. Don't wait till this weekend. Make it happen. Coming up. Well, hi there. Indeed, the talking box is on. Craig, Damon, John watching, Michael getting in today. You guys just setting the scene, setting the stage as we're coming to you tonight from the Reserve. Well, not from the Reserve, but brought to you by the Reserve, a culinary tavern, 103rd and Quaker. Chef Willie, the head chef. It's almost Thanksgiving pie ordering season, not Thanksgiving, pie ordering season. Nobody makes better pies than Chef Willie. Stay on his good side, be on the good list, and you can get your pie orders turned in there at the Reserve. And while you're there, why don't you just have a nice meal and a cocktail and tell Willie I can't wait for Thanksgiving. I'm trying to get him to do Halloween pies. We're not getting anywhere on that. Also by Kyle Rogers, Remax Realty, our realtor in Raiderland, the legendary Kyle Rogers. Later on, we'll tell you about a cool property that he's got out there for you right now. All right, let's get it going. Shall we? Tonight in 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt. TheRaiderland.com is where you find us every day, every morning. We got something going on, including usually our question of the day, the morning hot links. Check it out at TheRaiderland.com, and you can always get your questions and comments in. We're coming to you from the Arctic Air Studios tonight. It's time for that $79 fall check as we transition from seasons. It's going to happen before you know it. You better find out if it's working good. And you know what Arctic Air will do? They'll give you a free second opinion. If you just don't like the other guy, you don't quite trust it, call the bear. Callthebear.com. All right. So tonight, Tuesday's best. We won't take any votes from Travis Kelce. 2 best female singers all time, regardless of musical style. Your 2 favorite female singers. Every Tuesday, we have found out that Tuesday is the most underrated day of the week. So we ask you on Tuesdays what's underrated. You guys can start firing away on the text line as well. Brought to you by United Supermarkets at 806-772-0197. We'll start getting to your questions, comments, and thoughts on the Facebook Live broadcast as well. And we ask you what your biggest concern for Tech football is going into this week and all that. And we will, before the night is done, go back in time to look at the 1978 game. Texas Tech, the University of Houston. Two white hot teams. 2 hot teams coming into Jones Stadium. So we got all that going on for you tonight. Glad you're here. Let's see. Back up. Make sure I don't miss anything on the questions and comments. And CJ, you didn't go live yesterday. No, I didn't. I was protecting the voice. This time of year, it's real easy for me to lose my voice, get a lot of bad drainage and everything. And we jumped on. We done the Sunday night recap, and just yesterday I was just like, we got a big week. We got to be ready. We got to be ready. No, that was not the snow game against the University of Houston. Let's hope Donovan does not have the game of his life. If he does, look out. Talking about Donovan Smith, who Joey McGuire has the utmost respect for after he quit Texas Tech and went to Houston. Utmost respect for Donovan Smith. John on the Tuesday's best female singers, Ann and Nancy Wilson. Thank you. You got a lot of heart there. Whitney Houston. And she could sing. Somewhere she's still singing the national anthem at Tampa Bay's El Sombrero Stadium. Still finishing that. Unpopular opinion. It was never one of my favorite renditions of the national anthem, even though she's a beautiful singer and she sings beautifully. But it was never one of my favorite renditions. Sorry about that. Underrated female singer, Patsy Kleiner. She's good. Made Willie Nelson a bunch of money. Willie Nelson, a lot of his early songs written for Patsy Cline, helping him get his start. If you follow Traces of Texas on Twitter, you saw a really young Willie Nelson picture from about 19 years old, 20 years old. From 60 to 74, I don't know that anyone changed more in their look in music than Willie Nelson, unless it was Waylon Jennings, who also changed very much so. So we're talking Texas Tech football. We're talking on Tuesday's best on the website, theraiderland.com. We also continue to do what we did on radio. We ask you a food question. Best thing I ever ate. Great show. Today we were talking about do food buffets still exist? I haven't been out to Vegas lately. I don't know what the status of the Vegas buffets are. And then, just the all you can eat buffet places wherever you are. Are there any good ones out there? Is there anything worth going to? Whether it's an all you can eat or even just an all you can eat special, I would settle for that. Not a sponsor, but I do like their pepperoni rolls, Double Dave's. I think they ended the pepperoni rolls like all you can eat buffet type thing. So we had that out there. I don't want to cheat anybody who wants to get in on all the topics. So Texas Tech football, your biggest concerns. Someone mentioned in Smith that, I'm not really that worried about this Houston offense right now. They did put points up on the board against Sam Houston State. And Sam Houston State had played pretty good defense, but they're just still not a very good football team. But if you want to take something away from that, they did better against Sam Houston State than BYU did. I'm just not that worried about the defense right now. Underrated female singer, the Andrews Sisters. Good Lord, how old are you, Jared? Today I was like, yeah, we're gonna get some really good singers in here. Faith Hill's gonna be in here, and Patsy Cline, and of course the Andrews Sisters. You got it on 40s on 4. Hi there, Chandra. Glad you're watching tonight. Lonnie, there's a new buffet opening in Amarillo where the Furs was on Soncy behind the Drury Inn. Man, what a name, too. We're going to have a sad little motel. What should we call it? Drury? Let's make it sound as close as possible to dreary. Okay, the Drury Inn. Yeah. You can't even say it without your eyes kind of dropping a little. Drury. So it's a new buffet. What kind of food are they going to serve? Orlando still has the all-you-can-eat spaghetti on Sunday. Yeah, there you go. Go to. I wish I liked spaghetti. That would fall down on about 25 different menu items there that I would have on mine. 38, my late grandmother listened to 40s radio while getting ready for church. There you go. So you were indoctrinated properly. Speaking of indoctrinated properly, have we indoctrinated our friends who watch on Twitter Live and on YouTube to utilize the United Supermarkets text line? Otherwise, we can't see your comments during the show. 806-772-0197. It says so right there. Christine McVeigh and Stevie Nicks. Christine had that, a little more sultry voice, a little softer. I just saw a concert that Nicks recorded within the last 2 years, and her voice is hung in there pretty good. Yeah. So it's going to be kind of like first, so a cafeteria style. I'm thinking about beautiful carving stations. I like carving stations. Carving stations are good. 806-772-0197. We're all over the place on a Tuesday. Biggest concerns you got going for Texas Tech football into the Houston game. We will, later on in the show, look back to 1978. An epic game. One of the coolest games in Texas Tech history. And a lot intertwined around the game, backstories and different stuff and everything that was going on. And there were only probably like 35,000 people at the game that day. This is when sellout was 51,000. You could jam in 54 maybe. But now today, if you ask people, there were like 500,000 people there. Carol is watching tonight. And then the Tuesday's best female singers. No love for Reba McEntire early on tonight. Kind of figured the Reba McEntire crowd would be out in full force. Pat Benatar, anyone? No? No Pat Benatar? Mama Cass? Figured Jared's probably sitting on Mama Cass there. Let me rephrase that immediately after that came out of my mouth. Is the OC the problem, or am I just not being a supportive fan? I don't know what Zach Kitley's offense is yet. That going up to West Virginia, I pretty much dubbed it the whatever they're given, we're taking. That we're really not dictating things, that everything is reactionary. So it may be the reactionary offense. So, yeah, I think part of it is the lack of utilization of the run game early and often. It's a minor miracle that Taj Brooks got the ball as much as he did in the second half. All he's done when he's gotten the ball this year is run well for you. So, yeah, I think that's part of it. I also think this offensive line is suboptimal, subperforming, and not a good Big 12 line. And I don't know that they're playing better than last year. So you can throw the OC in there if you want to. Absolutely. You can always roll the dice on getting sick by going to the Golden Corral. Don't remember the last time I went. I'm not bagging. I'm not bashing. A lot of people love it. That's fine. More power to you. Can we confirm, though, that Double Dates doesn't do the pepperoni rolls anymore? Like you can go in and eat all you can eat and then, whatever happens afterwards. So, yeah, biggest concerns going in to this week, if you are a Texas Tech fan, or even if you're not. Hold on. Voluminous notes I'm looking for here. Help me out here. Hold on. It's handy to have reference material handy, and I did not have reference material handy there. I apologize. There was something I was actually looking for. Pay no attention to me. You guys do your own show here for a second. I don't know if I've got it on this note or not. Do we have that? Do I have that on there? No, they're not going to put that on there. Oh, well. That's okay. I didn't really need it. Really wasn't that important. I was looking for 17. That's I didn't know the number. One of the biggest concerns that you should have is you see number 17 on the field. All right. Got to back up, catch up some of the quotes. You guys get on the United Supermarkets text line. Only way I'll see it if you are on X. I'm still trying to translate to X from Twitter and on YouTube Live. Underrated snack, eating nacho cheese Doritos with Pace picante sauce. Are you living in my house? Don't have Pace. Well, we had another semi low end picante sauce in my kitchen, and nacho cheese Doritos have been eaten with that. Also, the Frito cheese dip in the can. You open it up. Highly underrated. It can't be too cheesy. John says, just crazy. All we heard during the offseason was how improved the O-line was. My goodness, how bad were they? Yeah. And there's been a lot of people talking about how I bought into the hype train. I bought into, and I've heard a few people trying to say, the media hyped this up. No, the media did not. Joey McGuire hyped this team up. Texas Tech and their 500,000 people media team hyped this up. Every video they produced, everything they put out, you live by slogan, you die by slogan. I've got a slogan conversation that we're not going to have tonight because I want to flesh out a little bit more of my thoughts on it. But anyhow, you live by the slogan, you die by the slogan. All right? 60 Minutes of Us has turned into Us and Them kind of maybe for a little while. Jeopardy theme music plays. Hold on. Underrated meal, smoked Gouda pasta salad. Where'd you get it? I like anything that starts out with smoked Gouda. Jeopardy music plays. Help me out on that. Concern is Morton going to be better than last week, depending on O-line keeping them off of him. When you think Tyler Shuck will return? 6 to 8 weeks. Two beat, in my opinion. Two best. Taylor Swift. Saw her open up for Kenny years ago and Beyonce. Taylor Swift. I really didn't think anybody would say Taylor Swift. Joey was the hype man, indeed. Yeah, all by himself. 60 minutes of us. Would you believe next year? Right now, I'd settle for like 45 really good minutes of us. 45 minutes of us would be good. Ease into it. Oh, music playing while I was shuffling through the papers. Yeah, the offensive line, it would really help. And that's another thing, what are you going to see out of Behren Morton? It's not like he hasn't been getting snaps. Number 2 guy gets snaps. He's played in college football. It wasn't like a guy who'd never been out there, West Virginia. That's why his performance was problematic. That for every drop, there was a really bad pass. For every line non-block, I saw a guy bail out on a pocket several times when he could have stepped up and made a throw. And I know Behren's the golden child. And hey, simultaneous sip. We love the kid and love his dad. He didn't play good. He didn't play good at all. Behren Morton's mom was my dad's babysitter. Somewhere in there it gets weird. Don't know why. Can somebody shoot that dude with a tire on the sideline? I much prefer the pump jack mentality. Yeah, I'm way out on the tire deal. You don't get the tire this week. No, let's not shoot him. That seems a little harsh. But no, we don't need to be reminded. It shouldn't need to be reminded that we're all in and that we've got to play hard for 60 minutes. Tire thing's got to go. There's too much crap these days. It's not just a tech thing. There's a lot of crap on that. I don't mind a little, but come on. 17 is Strong's number, your third string quarterback that you just don't want to see on the field. Will Burns, your shortstop, middle infielder, and sometimes quarterback is not an option. And I can't remember who it was. Oh, it's Coy Aiken would be one of your options doing that. Don't want to see Strong out there. So that means, what do we not do? Can anyone tell me what we don't do with Behren Morton this week? What do we not do with Behren Morton? It's pretty simple to me. 806-772-0197. It's Tuesday. Tuesday's best female singers. Two favorite female singers all time is what we're looking for. Debbie Gibson. One-time Texas Tech student, or so I heard, or so I was told. Debbie Gibson. How did rumors like that get started before the internet? How did we pull those things off? Another vote for itty bitty Stevie Nicks. She's a little bitty thing. Martina McBride. Good call, Olivia Newton-John. Yes, you do not run the quarterback. Throw it out of the playbook. Good job, Cameron. David says, I remember a huge marketing campaign for UT. 67 Year of the Horns. They lay eggs to start the season. Game 5 bumper stickers. Would you believe 68? That's we had at my high school in the early mid 80s. We were at Coronado. We were the Mustangs, and they still are, according to research. And stole everything we could from SMU. And one thing was for 85. The slogan was like, coming alive in 85, Mustang Mania. And we did not come alive in 85, really. Beat Monterey, thank you very much. But yeah, we did not come alive in 85. Did not happen. The slogan, we could not match up to the slogan. Good call on Martina McBride. Another just a little bitty human being, big voice. Olivia Newton-John, she passed. I have a horrible. Rob Rowe used to give me hell on the show. If you remember the show, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland, featuring Rob Rowe. Biggest concern going 1-4. Barbara Randrell, good voice. About trying to kill off people who were not dead. So I'm not trying to be funny. I have a tendency to do that. Did we lose? We lost Olivia. Did we lose? We lost Olivia Newton-John, right? If only there was a device. I'm afraid to move off the pages I've got put up right now. Yeah, 1-4 would be problematic. Tammy Wynette. So best female singers, 2 best. She did, yeah. She got the chills. They were multiplying. Okay, so I thought I had that one. Biggest concerns for Texas Tech. We'll get to the 78 Tech Houston game towards the end of the show tonight. every Tuesday, what's underrated. But yeah, concerns for Texas Tech. Get us on the United Supermarkets text line, 806-772-0197. I just realized this is one of the rare days I did not actually go into United Supermarkets or Market Street. It's like almost every day when I'm in town, there's a reason or something, and today I didn't go. I'll go twice tomorrow. I'll make up for it. I promise you. We'll do that. So on the United Supermarkets text line, 806-772-0197. You can get your comments in. Concerns for Texas Tech right now. How do you rank them? 78 was the white shoulder jersey game. You see, you guys would know this if you checked out the morning hot links. Thanks to Mike Ogletree, Ogle Pro, great videographer, great film guy. He archives a lot of stuff. I've given you the final 5 minutes of the game in highlight form that most people haven't seen, and then they misremember kind of everything that played out. Yeah, it's the white shoulder jersey game. Reba, no mention of her yet. Surprising. Yeah, that's what I said. I thought I might have some Reba stuff. Had to wait this summer one morning, and it wasn't very long, but I saw 2 episodes of the show while waiting for my wife on a doctor's visit on her little TV show from back whenever it was in the 2000s that I ever saw. It wasn't bad. You know, this is Reba. This is all right. Hi there, Andy. Glad you're watching. So, yes, going back to concerns for Texas Tech, do no harm. Morton, I don't care. I don't care if there are 2 men in the box. Here's what you do on the check down. You check down to wait for it. Wait for it. I've researched this. The running back, Taj Brooks. You hand him the ball. He goes in there. He gets the hell beat out of him, not you and your bad shoulder. Hot routes, everybody. Hot routes. We got hot routes. Linda watching tonight. The curse. To be associated with John Travolta, Kelly Preston, eliminated John Kirstie. Oh, wow. Yeah. Ooh. Yeesh. He does have quite the. That was not cool for Kelly Preston either. Loved her as an actress. Great in For Love of the Game. Probably a few others. There. Can y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? I don't know. Maybe I was the only one that heard that. Yeah, so nothing to jeopardize Morton. No runs. He's not allowed. You're not allowed. Here's how this works. Yeah, run the damn ball and quick hot routes. Yeah, the cat in the background that was being hit by the lawnmower. I jokingly said to the family as I walked in, all right, now, dogs, you pay attention. I'm going to start this show here in a few minutes in the office in the Arctic Air studios tonight. And I want you guys to make some random noises. And then I need to find out. I looked at the cat and go, you know what to do. Make this sound like you're being hit by a lawnmower. Yeah, so that's what the running game means. Sanford watching. Wild cat on the loose. We got a couple of cats, a couple of dogs. 806-772-0197. Here's how this works. When you're the coach and you have an offense that has a lot of freedom, that you have check downs, that the quarterback comes to the line of scrimmage and looks and says, yeah, we can run on that. Or looks and says, we can't run on that crap. No way in hell. I've watched this offensive line. We're going to throw the ball. That when you check to a run play, it's not the quarterback draw. It's not the quarterback lead. It's not the quarterback anything. It is handoff to the back, which means I don't want to see hardly any empty backfield sets for Texas Tech this weekend. I want Max Pro. I want a running back there that I can give the ball to at any given moment. And if that compromises the offense so much, we've got more problems than I realize. But you just don't have the luxury right now of screwing around. And, watch this the last couple of years at different times. I didn't like the way Kingsbury used Bowman after Bowman proved that he was getting hurt. And I think, the last couple of years we've just seen that you don't have to put the quarterback in jeopardy. Spike Dykes' gameplay. Yes, Rick Dykes is around. Call him, hey, Rick, I need the folder. I need the 1996 folder. Can you get that for me? Yeah, I need that. Now, I can't run the wing T because you exposed the quarterback. The quarterback is your guy in the wing T. If you don't have a good running quarterback, you cannot run the wing T. I want power I, baby, under center, fullback, I back. I want a flanker that I can move in as a slot back, as a flanker back. I want the F formation. We're going to zone block it. We're going to G block kick out. Not going to run the wishbone. Quarterback exposed. If you run the wishbone properly, as I was so lovingly told by men like Archie Sauter and Kenneth Wallace, if you run the wishbone properly as a quarterback, you get hit every play. That did not seem like a very good offense to me. You know? And yes, wide receivers to get open. Off the text line 806-772-0197. Will Kirby's job be in jeopardy if Joey's tenure fails? No. The board of regents loves him. Skubinik loves him. There is zero pressure on Kirby Hocutt because everything else is in order. And the money keeps rolling in. And quite frankly, he really didn't hire Joey. He was part of the hiring process, but the last coach he hired was Matt Wells. Tanya Tucker and Reba, their jobs are not in jeopardy if Joey doesn't work out either. Wide receivers get open on hot routes when defenders don't have time to cover them. Yep. Which is why I would take every inside receiver in any sort of offense right now, and I would teach my coverage guys, whether they're a outside linebacker or rolled up DB or anything, inside leverage. You play inside leverage. Take it away. College quarterbacks still struggle, even with the enclosed hash marks, a little bit on making that pass to the outside part of the body as opposed to the inside part of the body. And if I were a high school coach, I would always play inside leverage on any rolled up invert coverage scheme, whether I'm running zero press man or a cover two invert or anything like that. If I've got an inside receiver, slot receiver, or a split out tight end H-back, everything would be inside leverage. I'm going to force you to go outside. I'm going to throw you off your route. I'm going to take that inside release away. Even high school quarterbacks can make that. Is Kirby on the hot seat? No, Kirby is not on the hot seat. The people that matter, the people that don't matter. He is not on the hot seat right now. We may go green, white checker if you guys keep up the good questions and comments. Tuesday's best. Two best female singers in your opinion all time. What's underrated on a Tuesday? Every Tuesday we ask that. Ask Coach Hyatt tomorrow night. So get your questions ready. Biggest concern for Texas Tech right now. Biggest concern. The up the middle routes. Haven't seen many of them so far. Yeah, your seam routes. You've had a few drops, obviously, the last couple of weeks. Mainly the seam route has been there with the tight end. We've seen Tharp really take advantage of that. You saw that. Oregon, and did we see one of those nice routes against West Virginia? I'm trying to remember. I take out the Tarleton game because they were ill-equipped to handle Texas Tech for the most part, so I take away virtually zero from the Tarleton game. Truthfully, we need 2 more years O-line development, these younger players. Yeah, a lot of coaches don't get the 2 extra years because that would be year 4. So, year 3 anymore is where you make your move on coaches. The old adage of 4 or 5, that's all gone. And it should be. The transfer portal, the ability of players to be moved in and around. Yeah, 3's the new 4. Frankly, Leach had more to work with after Spike than McGuire had now. Yeah, I agree with that. And everybody talks about Leach had to have time to transition from a run offense to a pass offense. He had a lot of weapons when he showed up. He had a lot of guys that could do stuff. And he had some really good offensive linemen. Carrie Underwood. I barely met her. But if you insist, carry her Underwood. He had some man boys waiting for him when he got there. And then the recruiting class of 04, the 04-05 offensive line recruiting class was really good too. Yeah, he left in quite a few offensive linemen. And a really good running back who could also catch the ball. Andy says Joey will get it done. All right, so we're going green, white checker. Welcome to the daily broadcast from the Arctic Air Studios, brought to you tonight by Cal Rogers, Remax Realty, and, of course, if you're looking or buying or selling, hey, Cal knows the market. Good Red Raider. And, of course, the Reserve, a culinary tavern, dagnammit. Captain. So there you go. You. 1978 time. Hold on, I got to hit the Seymour. During the Monday press conference, Kittley threw the players under the bus in the last 4 plays of the game by passing and running the ball. McGuire said they should have run it, so I guess McGuire threw Kittley under the bus, and then Kittley threw them under the bus. Physical maturity in O-line, huge. It's massive. It's huge. There is no. That's why there are so few freshman, redshirt freshmen, offensive line players, and almost all of them. If you see other than bad teams with injuries, you go back and I think about guys that had their red shirts pulled back in the day, or that played as true freshmen or even redshirt freshmen and started. Most of those guys end up in the NFL. Think back, like LaRaven Clark, when he played as a freshman, you're just going, yeah, this guy's probably going to play in the National Football League. Let's go back to 1978. First off, how many folks even on the broadcast tonight were alive for that? I happened to be at this game. We were down from Amarillo on a rare Saturday, and I'm not sure why. I don't know I guess my dad's season had wrapped up in football, and that's why we would have been able to be down here for the game. But it is end of the year, and not a bad year by any stretch of the imagination for the Red Raiders at that point. In fact, it was a pretty darn good year. You know, the Raiders at that point were in the midst of a 6-game winning streak, or a 5-game winning streak going into the Houston game. CJ was there too. The losses had occurred at the beginning of the season. They started the year 1-3. They would play against USC, then ranked 9th, and lose in the Coliseum on a 17-9 game. I remember listening to Jack on the radio on that. You beat the hell out of Arizona after that, and then 2 Southwest Conference losses. 1-year-old, didn't care. You lose at home to Texas, 24-7, and then 38-9 on the road at A&M. Then you reel off wins against New Mexico, Rice, Baylor, TCU, and SMU. You're not ranked at this point. But the University of Houston is. They're freshmen in high school. South Texas, listening to the old Exxon, Southwest Conference, a radio network. Houston comes in ranked 5th in the country. And they have national title aspirations at this point, that if things break, they're going to have a chance to win the Southwest Conference, play in the Cotton Bowl, and they're going to end up having a chance to have a really good matchup. Obviously, Texas Tech will win this game. Sloan didn't recruit. Yeah, Sloan had one foot out the door, and by the time 79 rolls around, you're on the downside of talent from the mid-'70s recruiting bonanza of Jim Carlin that Sloan inherited. Hi there, Harry. Glad you're watching. Freshman in high school, South Texas. Oh, we already read that one. Sorry. So it sets the stage that Texas Tech is playing really well. Ron Reeves at quarterback. James Hadnot is having his 1,300-yard rushing year, although Reeves would lead you in touchdowns with, I believe, 6 on the year. Good running quarterback. You're running an option-based attack out of a multi-set, which it was not a veer. It was quite a bit of two-back. You did run some bone at the time, but it was a lot of two-back, what we would come to call, and it looked very much like the way it was played, like the Houston veer, but not the pure veer backs. Pro set, midline dive option. Tom Osborne used it, but with a fullback a lot. And hickory dickory dockery after Sloan. So Texas Tech that day, they come out. It's the final home game. It's senior day, 1978. And they're having, as we said, a pretty good year. It wasn't a huge crowd that day. Kind of gray skies. A bit of a flex bone. Yeah, bit of a flex bone. You might say that would come into popularity with Kenneth Hatfield there at Arkansas later on in the 90s. And some teams around the Southwest used it. Andy, there's a student at the University of Texas Tech. And for most of the game, Houston is really controlling the game. They've got a 21-14 lead in the fourth quarter. They have done what they do. And that was the year, that's your Danny Davis era Houston Cougars with him running the offense. Randy Love as your running back and pretty prolific pretty prolific Bill Yeoman team right there. Thanksgiving weekend, November 25th to be exact. So a lot of the students were kind of gone, probably, it kind of helped keep the crowd down a little bit. And then with about 6 minutes to go, Texas Tech catches a break. Literally, they catch the ball. They intercept Davis driving. Now, this is kind of interesting because it was 2 years before that Houston had intercepted Rodney Allison in the end zone, and it stopped the ability of Texas Tech, ranked, I believe, 5 in the country, and with national title hopes looming, ended the threat, ended a potential comeback, and Houston will win that. So now it's Texas Tech with the interception about the 30 or so yard line. And you got about 5 minutes to go. Now, that sounds like today a ton of time. That's not a whole lot of time. Warmed up in the traditional red jerseys. We'll get to that. And then ran on behind the horse and the blacks with the white shoulders. Yep. And we'll tell you who and why did that. And it's the only time those jerseys have been worn. I'm still trying to find out if the players were given those jerseys after the game. And I think that's what happened. But timing being what it was, that wasn't a whole lot of time. And Tech hadn't done a whole lot. And they hit a couple of big plays. They hit a nice pass play. They get it in position, and they get in for the touchdown with under 4 to go, 3 something left in the game at that point. So they get in for the touchdown. They get called for a penalty going for 2. And there you go. There was a snow game in 88. There was a snow game in 80 as well. There was a game where it snowed prior to that for an SMU game, and they cleared it off. Billy Joe did, I don't even have to look, turned the ball over at the end trying to scramble. I was sitting on the west side, one of the last games I did not cover as a member of the media. Sitting there, people were just passing out whiskey like it was going out of style there. So now Texas Tech scores. Now there's 3 minutes left. Houston still has a chance, and they're moving the ball. And again, Texas Tech with the turnover. Now here's what's interesting. So Texas Tech with about a minute and 2 minutes left. Yeah, Reeves was really tough. Comes back down. Now it's 22-21, and they kick a field goal. They kick a field goal to go up 25-21. Too many men on the field. Illegal participation, Houston. Rex Dockery, in a very analytics kind of mood, a pretty bold move, takes the points off the board. You never take points off the board. Dockery does in that situation. If I remember, the play clock then I think was 45 seconds. Houston still has 3 timeouts, so it's not a given. You can't just kneel on it. Texas Tech ends up getting 2 more first downs. They get it inside the 10. They burned all their timeouts, says Houston. And the last play of the game is Ron Reeves taking the snap, dropping down, and a Houston guy jumping over the line, slamming into him, to which Tech players were not real happy. But at that point, the fans begin streaming onto the field. And Texas Tech now has upset then 5th-ranked Houston to win their 6th game in a row, 22-21. We'll back up, and then we'll go forward to tell you what was still kind of interesting about this game from that point. So, well documented, this was the black jerseys, white shoulder tops game. Ralph Blodgett, rancher out of Spearman, Texas Tech alum, made some money in the ranching business. I think he had some oil money as well. He was the one who came to Texas Tech and said, I want to do these special jerseys. You guys want to do them? They were going back to the 1940s. That Texas Tech at one time had jerseys that were similar to this, that they wore the black, they had the white. I think it was a World War II era, 46, right in through there. Didn't last very long. The backstory on Blodgett, though, is he hated Joe Kirk Fulton. And at that point, the masquerade that Blodgett felt like he and his friends had been the ones who had really kind of started it before Fulton becomes the guy in 54, and that they didn't get any credit for it. Now, those of you who know that originally back in the late 30s and the 40s, it was random that there would be the masked rider who was not the masked rider at that time, but what was known as the ghost rider, who would occasionally lead the team onto the field. I don't know what that was. Hold on. Are we breaking here on the tripod? Having major tripod issues. It happens to men our age. So Blodgett, who hates Fulton, is trying to kind of ingratiate himself into the proceedings. And that I believe he had heard that they were going to build the Masked Rider statue. And that made him mad. So he was trying to get in on all that, you know? So that was why he does that. He wants to make a big splash. And he's trying to one-up Fulton in a lot of this that was going on. So that's where the jerseys came from, was Blodgett. Now, I mentioned that there were a lot of interesting little tie-ins and all this stuff. So Texas Tech will go on and just get the hell beat out of them by Arkansas. Texas Tech will end up 5-3 in Southwest Conference play. They'll end up 7-4. That's a good record. 7 wins didn't get you a bowl game back in the day. That Texas Tech team does not go to a bowl game. In fact, the 77 team would be the last one to go until 86 when Tech goes to the Independence Bowl. David McWilliams bails and Spike Dykes is the interim coach. That team doesn't go to a bowl game. Houston, it cost them and the Southwest Conference a shot at the national championship. So Houston falls and ends up, dropping in the polls. And they end up getting a pretty lackluster matchup after they finish the season with a win. And they play a team called Notre Dame in the Cotton Bowl, January 1st, 1979. Anyone remember what was interesting about that game? There weren't 55 bowl games in 1978. The Southwest Conference had 4 teams in bowl games that year. 2 teams that beat you, and then in Arkansas, in Texas and Texas A&M, then Arkansas and Houston. And A&M played in some crappy Shrine Classic. That's right. It's the chicken soup game. It's Houston. It's Houston versus Notre Dame and Joe Montana. Joe Montana famously eating the chicken soup at halftime, leading the Irish to a 35-34 victory over the Houston Cougars. So it set in motion that wouldn't have been the matchup. Had Houston won that game, that matchup that year, I think would have been it might have been Oklahoma. Who was number 1 that year? That wasn't a Penn State year. Anyways, it would have been a much bigger Cotton Bowl. Arkansas, by the way, ended up going to the Fiesta Bowl. Yeah, and UH blows a huge lead. So that Texas Tech cost the Southwest Conference an opportunity at a national championship. Now, would Houston have won? Well, we'll never know, will we? That was probably that was the high water mark for Rex Dockery, who would go another year before leaving. Then Tech would enter the wilderness of the Jerry Moore years in the early to mid 80s. And that for the longest time was Tech's last really big win, last win of consequence. All of that in 1978. Hell with Houston, we never liked them. No, they cost you a Cotton Bowl. Cost you a chance to play for a national championship. It is quite the deal. 7-4, 5-3 in Southwest Conference play. And that doesn't get you a bowl game. All right. I've enjoyed it. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you like what we do, tell all of our great sponsors thank you. If you like what we do, share this and spread the message of Raiderland. Spread what we do there from theraiderland.com. Join us tomorrow, Bandwagon Wednesday. Big show coming up tomorrow. Really big show. We'll have this archived for you in just a little bit. All right, now it's time to say goodbye to our friends who have been watching on YouTube and on Twitter X. I asked us, do we end the stream? Yes. In the stream. We're ending the stream. Stay